Hey y'all, here at OS Reviews. You guys may recall that just about a week ago we checked out a really cool LED lamp that was in the shape of a cube and just adds a nice ambient light in the back of any room. Incredibly interesting with the way that it uses mirrors in this reflective and clever way. Well, today we're taking a look at yet another interesting LED lamp. By using double-sided mirrors, once again the lights are cast in this dazzling infinity-like tunnel pattern, so if you mount it onto the wall, for example, people might even think it's something that physically extends much deeper than it actually is. So this particular 3D tunnel infinity lamp sells for around 20 bucks on Amazon, so it's going to be also fairly affordable. Dimensions here are going to measure 25 centimeters by 27.5 centimeters tall, can be powered using either batteries, two AA batteries more specifically, or use a USB socket, so you can connect this to a power bank, a laptop. These lamps also come in all types of shapes and sizes. Some of them are round, other ones are triangles, and it looks like there is a version of this lamp which comes with multicolored LED, allowing you to change the color of the light, but the model that we have here is just a simple white light. These will probably sell for a little more, or you can also pick up a version that has just red light or blue, again roughly 10 to 11 inches in terms of the height and the width. And on the inside we have just the lamp itself along with the aforementioned optional USB power cable, and that is it. So in terms of first impressions, you can see here is the height, and I can put it next to something like an average phone these days. It has a 6-inch screen to give you guys an idea. There's also bigger versions available that can be as large as a full painting on a wall if you want to just make the effect even more dazzling. When it's turned off, it's actually just acting as a regular mirror, so you're able to also use it to, take a look at yourself in the morning, acting just as a standard vanity mirror. So it has this kind of 2-in-1 design. The lights are only obvious once you flick it on, and the entire frame here is constructed out of a polycarbonate plastic, which does feel a little on the flimsy side. You won't be really touching it too much, but I just say that because some of the seams and edges, as you can see there, are just not always giving you the best fit. But at this price, I would say it is what it is. There is also a hook on the top here that if you want to attach it like a painting onto the wall, it is the exact same thing on the back as well as on the front. So both sides are mirrors. One thing to note though is that the mirror surface is actually a kind of plastic material instead of being actual glass. So on the positive side, it's a little harder to, let's say, crack if you accidentally drop it, but on the downside is it's not going to be as rigid or as premium feeling as actual glass. Just like any other mirror though, it is very easy to attract smudges and fingerprints, so you do have to kind of rub it down with a cloth every once in a while to make it look the best. And now with it plugged in, here is what it looks like. So the actual illusion and the effect that it produces is very similar to how you see the advertisements. It is quite clever, and it is also visible even if there's a little bit of background light around you. The LEDs do seem to be fairly bright and also energy efficient, of course, but for the best effect, of course, you would want to kind of further dim the lights around it, and then it becomes even more mesmerizing and dazzling. Because the sides here are almost translucent and the light also is double-sided, it does cast this kind of warm glow if you put it against a flat wall. I have to say that the effect is actually quite convincing, and if you didn't know better, you would want to just stick your hand inside because of this depth that it creates. You can kind of just stare infinitely into the abyss, and here's a view from the bottom, just looking upwards into the tunnel. Now, maybe the only thing I'm not the biggest fan of would be perhaps the shape of the dock or the base at the bottom. I think they can make that a little bit more thin or flat. That could make the illusion look even better, especially if you're trying to hang this onto the wall. That bottom portion, maybe they can consider removing or just minimizing kind of that bottom edge just to, I think, make it look even cleaner. What is quite clever here is the sense of depth also really works. Even if you look at it from sideways, you can still see how it just looks like there's this kind of depth going on into the tunnel, and until you just look at it from the edge, of course, and it just seems impossible how thin it is and compared to what you actually are seeing in front of you. So even as you are moving around, the sense of illusion isn't really broken. You can still look upwards, downwards, from all directions. Now, what's also kind of interesting about this is the light is kind of interactive in a way, because like I said, it's not a real rigid glass, but rather kind of this plastic material, so you can kind of flex it by pressing into it. Again, it's not really recommended because you'll leave smudges that you have to kind of wipe off, but you are able to kind of distort the mirror in a way just by flexing and pressing down with your hands. So as you can see there, if I am pressing, it just distorts the image that it creates from this reflection, and it makes the tunnel seem like it's shrinking down to this one point, or I can unflex it. And just creates kind of this interesting effect as you are playing around with it. Makes it also a little more interactive just by maybe a consequence. And then, like I said, it's the same image also on the other side. So if you flip it around, you get the exact view that you saw there from the front, which means if you put it maybe into the center of a table or on an island, other people from both sides will be able to see the same effect. Now, despite how cool this light looks, the mechanics are quite simple. It's essentially just sandwiched in between, again, two films, which are coated in this reflective mirror-like surface on the inside, but still translucent, allows you to see into it. And then on the middle portion here, it's just a LED light strip that has been stuck on. And then because of this dual-sided mirror, it's casting all of these reflections. And that's why, to be completely honest, there are a lot of DIY tutorials available online, which also teaches you how to make something like this by yourself. So if you wanted to pick up the parts, something like a mirror of your own, and then just using some LED lights, it might be possible to create your own version, your own shape, and maybe even a larger canvas as well. But if you're like me, a little bit lazy, you can also pick up a pre-made version like this. Again, this version is very simple, just a white light, so we can't change the color or the brightness on here. But like I said, this is more of a mood light, just like the infinity cube that we saw from before. Maybe a bedside lamp, something like that, but it's not really sufficient to do serious work. Like if you're doing a lot of reading or working on your laptop, ideally you'll want a brighter light. It's simply operated using the switch here, so there is no companion app, nothing like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi that allows you to further automate or control things from a device. I personally think that this hexagon shape is designed to be quite well. I know there's other variants available like a circle, as touched on, a square as well, but I think this makes it almost look a little bit larger in my opinion than it actually is. Definitely is a nice conversation starter and decor that you can add to any room. You can check out more details on this as well as other similar variants in the links below. But for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.